All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Everybody Has a Story. Today's episode is one I've really been looking forward to. I've been trying to get him here 3 or 4 times now, and he gets busy. We get it. But we have, as a guest tonight, Jayden Hugie on with me. He is the owner of Lond Laik Logistics, and he's a guy who's spent a big part of his life behind the wheel of a truck and has now built something of his own. So we are going to go ahead and dive into trucking, what life on the road is really like, and the ups and downs of building a business, and really just life lessons that come along with grinding it out every single day. So, Jayden, I'm super glad you're here, man. Let's get into your story. How you doing?
Good. Glad to be here, Cam. Appreciate it. Did take a minute to get over here, but no, this is great. Really excited. So
Yeah,
it's fun.
I'm super glad to have you here. And tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
So I grew up actually in Rock Valley, Iowa. I grew up in Northwest Iowa. My dad's originally from out here. My mom come out when I was I guess she come out out of high school for Sam's Club, and then her and my dad met. But yeah, I grew up in Iowa. And then I moved out here when I was 16.
16?
Yeah, I was
16. So you were in Iowa till you were 16 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was out there a long time. And then I moved here, I think my junior year. Moved out here.
Nice. And were you guys into the trucking stuff out in Iowa, or did that not start till you got here?
So I've always had a fascination with trucks. Since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like Suddy, like my son now. I just obsessed with him. Hopefully he's smart enough to stay away from him. But it just always had a fascination with the trucks and the lights and the chrome and, all that kind of cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But, and out there, big ag communities, a lot of cattle, a lot of hogs. And it's always had a thing for the farming, but the trucks were always...
The big thing out there.
I was the nerdy kid that thought the Peterbilts were cool, and everyone else was worried about the Vikings and football, and I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, you've got, I've been to your house. You've got totes upon totes and shelves and closets just chock full of your model toy trucks and tractors and trailers and everything in between, right?
Oh, yeah. Autumn, I'm sure she's super impressed with all my junk. I'm sure she's super impressed.
And Autumn is your wife.
Yeah, Autumn's my wife.
And so you guys have 3 kids?
We have 3. I have 3 kids.
Yep.
9, 5, and 2.
Awesome.
2 girls and a boy.
That's so cool. They're all cute little kids, but Suddy, he's your little boy, and he's got quite the personality.
Monster. Yeah, he's a monster. Yeah. He definitely fights for his own.
Yeah.
2 older sisters. Yeah, he fights for his own.
That's awesome. So when you moved back here, I mean, your dad did some trucking stuff, right?
Yeah, so he started out sweeping parking lots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he always was drove truck when I was a kid, and then in the early 2000s started sweeping parking lots and doing exterior maintenance, like box stores, Walmarts, Kohl's, anything from snow removal to pressure washing, sweeping, striping, asphalt, kind of all that stuff. And so he always had 1 or 2 trucks, and I always liked the trucks more than sweeping's not, it's cracked up to be. You're gonna get up, you work all night, you're dusty, dirty. It's just a shitty job. He'd probably be disappointed for me to talk shit on it, but that's a miserable job. So yeah, I was into the trucks, actually, my youth, I had a good childhood, but as a young adult, I was a dipshit. I got in a lot of trouble when I was 18, made a lot of stupid choices. I dropped out of high school.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I dropped out of high school, into my junior year, and just had a know-it-all attitude, smarter than everybody, arrogant.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm still kidding. The same. I'm kidding.
But just made a lot of kind of dumb choices. So then what really got into the trucking and stuff like that is as my dad's company progressed. When I was 21, I had London, right? So I'm 21, pretty fresh out of getting in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And it was a great way, still is great way to make a very good income.
Yeah.
And I just kind of put my head down and just went to work. So yeah, that's kind of where it all started. Is just driving truck for Marty, and that's progressed to where it's at now.
So do you start driving truck as soon as you could? You got your CDL when you were 18 or?
No, I got my CDL when I was 21.
Oh, wow.
I drove truck illegally for several years.
Yeah.
I would go haul salt for my dad, or we'd haul potatoes from Grace to Farmington, and I mean, there's probably a couple years there that I didn't have CDL, but that was then, and this is now. You can't get away with that nowadays. This isn't like this is that long ago. I mean, this is in the last like 15 years, but
Yeah.
things have really cracked down.
Well, and you didn't sign any papers, so if the cops come after you after this podcast, it's not my fault.
No, hell no. Hell no. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That can't get in trouble for that anymore. I get CDL now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just different than it used to be.
So it was kind of your dad, I mean, watching your dad and stuff like that, that's what kind of got you into truck driving in the first place, as well as your fascination with trucks. Kind of always the little kid dream of wanting to drive truck.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so how long, I mean, you drove for your dad. Have you only ever driven for your dad? I mean, besides now, but like, we'll get into that later. But
I only drove for him, and then I was an owner-operator. So I'd bought a truck, and then I was an owner-operator leased to him. But yeah, that's really how it all goes back. Is back to working with him.
Yeah. And so when you did get your actual CDL, did you hit a lot more like over the road? I mean, from Grace to Farmington, Utah. I mean,
Farmington, New Mexico.
Oh, Farmington, New Mexico.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, you were really trucking.
So there's this one time. These are like trucker stories, right? These are so stupid, but Cortez, Colorado has a pretty aggressive port of entry, and I would follow my dad down to Farmington, and there was a day that as I come around the corner, he was behind me. I got the red light, bring in your paperwork. So I parked, no CDL, 19 years old, should not have been anywhere near, shouldn't have been there. And we basically just flip-flop trucks, and he goes and does the paperwork. And that was pretty well the end of going to Farmington. That was a little too close for comfort. Yeah. But no, my career has been over the road. When Lakin was little, London was little. London's my oldest, Lakin's my middle. I was over the road. I'd go to Washington, I'd go to Kansas, I'd go to Oregon, a lot of Denver, Arizona. But I was over the road. I'd leave Monday, I'd come home Friday, Saturday, just gone.
Wow. So what does the life over the road look like? I mean, you just brought us a little bit into it, but go a little bit more in depth on what over the road trucking really looks like.
So, if you take it from a single guy, I don't want to say no responsibilities at home because you never have that, but you take kids out of it, you take a wife out of it, phenomenal income. I mean, really, you get to do what you want, when you want. You can drive late, you can drive early. I mean, really, you can do about whatever you want. It's great money. Meet a lot of people, see a lot of places. And then you get into the negative side of it. Sometimes the best place to be can be behind a windshield. Sometimes the absolute worst place can be is behind a windshield. I mean, you know that, traveling, dealing with salesmen. Sales. There's times that behind the windshield's really stressful. A lot of regulation. A lot of truck driving used to be a skill set that people were proud of.
Yeah.
You look at, back in the last 50 or 60 years in the, 60s, 70s, 80s, that was a career. People, like being a lawyer was like being a truck driver. Like, man, you're a truck driver.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of more of like you're a truck driver. Like,
did you shower today?
Yeah, exactly. Did you? Well, when we send you trucks in, it's sometimes like, man, have you ever got a haircut? You ever, and not that matters, but it's just kind of like on the, sometimes the rougher side. The thing is it's gone from a professional industry to anybody can get a job,
Yeah.
and which is good. I like that because I like the fact that you can minister to all walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that's not always so great is you deal with all walks of life, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
So you deal with a lot of kind of real hard heads, whether it's in a shipper, a receiver, people at a truck stop, the DOT. There's just a lot of really kind of unnecessary, just assholes. You
Yeah.
know, but all in all, I'd say it's pretty good. Like your typical days driving, you see a lot of these guys with these big headsets on and
Yeah.
talk on the phone. I mean, like even now, shit, I spend half the day Dave or Andy or Red or somebody calls, just bored driving. But I spend my time. I listen to, like when I would drive, even now, once in a while when I drive, listen to a book a lot, listen to music, talk on the phone. Anymore now, there's so much going on. I just on the phone trying to
Yeah.
put fires out driving a truck.
Yeah.
It's not unless it's an emergency. It's at the very bottom of my priority list lately, just because it's so hard to do. But the other kind of cool thing with trucking is, a guy can get into it pretty young, and there's a lot of opportunity to do all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
can pull a reefer, you can flatbed, RGN, dirt. I mean, you can do almost anything.
yeah, I mean, there's so many loads out there with refrigerated truck driving, oversized loads, ag hauling, concrete. I mean, gotta have your CDL for driving a concrete truck, or, we can get into it a little bit later too. But I mean, driving, hauling tubs,
Oh, yeah.
Helix tubs and ag stuff that way.
Yeah, there's there's an opportunity. I mean, one thing we've been doing within our own company is trying to figure out where, like, what our market share is, which is small, but like
Yeah.
still trying to figure out what our market share is, what our, what equipment we're mainly using. But in almost every stretch of the imagination, in any community, in any town, anywhere in the world, there's going to be some type of transportation. Obviously we live in a country that we have extreme amounts of success given our age of our country. Our economic development, even our economy. Like even now, obviously it's a down economy, but there's still so much moving that with that CDL you can always kind of fall back on.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of times people will ask me, well, I want to be a truck driver, and if they got 3 kids at home and a wife, it's like you might, maybe look at what you're going to do. Maybe you go talk to Staker, you go talk to a local, but kind of every walk of your life as a truck driver, you can find a job. But it's demanding.
Yeah.
Even local, you got to think the guys that haul for your dad, they got to drive 12, 14 hours a day.
Oh yeah.
They're busy and seasonal. Our guys, we treat very much put like the emphasis on home time and family and holidays and stuff like that. But the hard thing is when you start, you've got about 2 years of just getting kind of the shit beat out of you before anybody's going to give you the time of day, and you end up with some big carriers that know that, and they'll just kind of run the guts out of you.
Yeah, I mean, I got my CDL when I was 18, and I mean, there for a minute I was looking for over the road stuff. I never ended up doing it, but every job I looked for, they wanted you to have 2 to 5 years of driving history under your belt before they would hire you.
Well, it's even like us. We got 2 years of it. You got to have 2 years of experience, and then you got to have you got to be at least 23. You got to. These insurance companies, honestly, they're kind of the biggest crock of shit in it all.
Yeah.
They make it so difficult, and safety's always your first priority and everything. But they make it harder than it has to. Because really, you take a young guy, just goes and gets the shit beat out of him in another company for 2 years. And by the time they come to you, they got a bad attitude. They've got kind of a lot of stuff that is negative, and now you got to try and work from it.
Yeah.
Which really kind of takes the joy out of it.
100%. When you're out there on the road like that, I mean, a lot of these guys, when you're traveling, you'll leave on a Monday, and there's a chance you're not going to make it back home for a week. There's guys that are out on the road for 2 weeks. There's guys that are out on the road longer than that. I mean, what do you miss the most when you're gone? I mean, I'm pretty sure I know that answer, but
Yeah, especially like now, I tell you there at the, and we can kind of talk about this too as we go into like what we've done, but like your kids, I mean, that is tough. I have a phenomenal wife. I have gambled on everything in my life. I have bet it all on red. I have put myself in, at times, unnecessary risk in positions. But my wife bet everything on me. And like, I can't imagine. I mean, like, I look now, like, I'm home every night. Uh, I'm, I see my kids every day. There's busy times, right? So there's times I leave before they get out of bed, and I'm usually home. I mean, sometimes I'm home after
yeah,
they they get home. But there was a time where like Autumn would have Lakin, and I was gone. I'd
yeah,
leave. So Lakin was born on the 7th of January, which I think was like a Thursday or a Wednesday. We sat in the hospital for like 2 days. Come home on a Friday, and I think like Monday I left and was gone. Week, never gone more than a week.
yeah,
Always home on the weekend. But you run that hard, that like through the week. By the time you get home, you're dead. I mean,
yeah,
even like nowadays, like I don't know about you, but like Saturday, I'm tired. I mean, I got stuff going on, but I stay busy Saturday. But Sunday, I'm lazy.
yeah,
Like especially driving truck, you come home, you're tired. You do your laundry, kind of, and time goes by fast.
yeah,
And back then, well, Autumn still worked at Northrop, so like we'd only see each other like every couple weeks. Because when I would come home, she worked every other weekend. So like basically, I'd come home and I'd have Lakin for Saturday, Sunday while she was at work, and she'd work 12-hour days, so she'd work from 6 to 6, and me and Laik would hang out, and then basically her off weeks, I'd be home and we'd have London, and then so we'd see that. But like most of the time, it's like every 2 weeks, Autumn and I kind of seen each other, and it was like that for a long time. It was like that for a really long time, and then progressively started, things started to change and had to force things to change.
yeah,
Things.
yeah, 100%. I mean, that's super tough. And then when you talk about getting down into the weekends and stuff, I mean, you're not getting home at a decent time on a Friday. I mean, you're getting home late, and then you're kind of resetting Saturday, and then Sunday you're got maybe half a day to kind of relax, and then you're getting ready to go, and that evening trying to get to bed early so you can get back on the road on Monday.
Oh yeah, yeah. It goes by so fast, and then you almost like, it's funny because you get me time all week long, right?
Yeah.
You're by yourself all week long, so then you get home and it's like mentally you want to decompress,
Right.
because you've been at work all week, and your wife's like, you had your week to yourself. It's like, well, no, I was at work.
Yeah.
So then it's like you're almost in this, like, it causes a lot of tension there, because you're burnt out from being gone, and they're like, hey, we want to see you, and it's like, oh, yeah. You're there, but you're not really
right.
You're not present, and that's But like if you really break it down in trucking, it's an industry that has the highest divorce rate, has the highest like young death rate. I mean, I think trucking's like number 10 or something like that.
Really?
Number 9 in the nation for like deaths, like
didn't
early age deaths.
I didn't know that.
And what's funny is you'll see a guy that's walk in and looks like he's 100 years old and he's 60. I mean, it's a really hard on your body. So, suicide rates through the absolute roof on it. It's an extremely lonely job. And then people don't really understand why, kind of you are the way you are. You kind of become a hermit.
Yeah.
Like even myself, I was a very social person. Like now I'm getting better again, but for a long time I was like, man, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Autumn
Keep
be
to
like,
myself.
Yeah, Autumn like, let's go to dinner tonight. It's like there's people, there's gonna be people there, right?
Yeah.
And COVID kind of did that too.
Yeah.
COVID kind of made it where everybody was kind of hermits, but yeah, it's a lonely job. But for as many negatives as there are, there's a lot of positives. I think, if there's a young guy getting into it, your goal should be kind of to get in and out. What does this do for a stepping stone to get me to your next spot? Because there's a lot of, like, especially in our community, there's a lot of great jobs, but you kind of got to get beat up for a couple of years.
Yeah.
This, you can step in and make good money.
Yeah.
Quick.
when you say in and out too, I mean, I'm understanding that, but as well as, I mean, maybe go do over the road for quite a while or a while, and then see if you love driving trucks, see if you can do more local. I mean, there's a lot of local loads that you're home every night out there if you really love truck. I not downplaying day loads, but I'm sure being over the road and being gone that long and having to drive that much is probably a little bit more wear and tear on you than day loads, would you say?
Oh yeah, it is. And it's all has its own levels of stress, right? So you take like over the road, you've got timelines and stuff like that, but it's not like a local load where if you load in Smithfield at 8 a.m., that you better get hoofing it to your next place.
Yeah.
Like one customer we have now here in the valley, we ship loads kind of all over Lowe's, Home Depot, stuff like that. I mean, you got to be hoofing it to get down, to get back.
Yeah.
Because the next load kind of goes. And some of that is like the people above you. So I'm a pusher, right? I push people pretty hard. I have to tell people, you have to tell me when I need to back off, because I'll push. And that's the same in trucking, but the stress on local versus over the road, mainly that's kind of where you find your two drivers as they go. This guy goes, I can't handle the stress, I want to be over the road.
Yeah.
When I'm done, I want to be done. This guy's going, hey, I got young kids, I can handle the stress, I want to be home every night.
Yeah.
And then it's your also economic, right? So in northern Utah, southern Idaho, we have so much stuff that moves. We have so much manufacturing and produce and even agriculture that there's an exorbitant amount of freight that moves.
Yeah.
Versus like if you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, you know what I mean? If you're in Flagstaff, Arizona, I mean, you don't have the options like we have here.
Right.
And so then it also depends on where you're at, but
100%. Yeah, that's super true. And no, that's a lot of good knowledge about driving truck, being over the road, having a career, being a driver. But recently, about the time I started at Keelix, you decided to get your broker's license. Is that about? Yeah. That's about the time,
it's
right?
It's all downhill since there.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. It's been good.
No, it's been really good.
You've been killing it. Yeah, you've been doing really well. So explain to us the difference between a truck driver and a trucking broker.
So, in trucking, you have a driver who just drives for a trucking company.
Mm-hmm.
You have an owner operator, which is a truck. They typically own the truck. They either pull somebody else's trailer. Yeah, it's like a owner operator, lease operator. And then your next kind of steps are you have like a true owner operator, just a guy owns one truck.
Yeah.
Pulls one trailer, right? And then you kind of go under your mini fleets and stuff like that. So I started out as a driver.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a truck, I pulled a trailer for my dad. Realized I absolutely effing hate reefers.
Yeah.
I hate docks. I just hated it. And then so got into little flatbed, little commodities. And then so we had one truck, right? We had the white and yellow truck.
Yep.
Did kind of like a little side broker and did a little of this, did a little of that. But really just had the one truck. And then the difference between like a broker and a carrier is a carrier is who hauls the load, right?
Yeah.
That's that the product physically goes on that person's trailer. And you have some carriers that are direct with customers, and then you have some carriers that haul for a broker.
Mm-hmm.
What a broker does is they connect your shipper with your receiver via carrier. And it's almost and it depends on your company. Some people are kind of sharks on it, pretty shitty.
Yeah.
I think we do a pretty good job at treating our carriers very fairly. But basically, a broker makes a percentage of what the load is. So if our takes 5% and the load pays $1,000, we get $50. The carrier gets $950. It's our customer.
Yeah.
It all comes through us.
It all goes through you.
And brokering is also a fairly new thing in the last, I don't know, probably 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
I would say the 80s and 90s it started, and then really in the 2000s, at the turn of the century, when you get into like especially the internet boom and stuff like that,
Yeah.
brokering just shot through the roof. Because what brokering does is it gives carriers. Let me back up a little bit. There is this like forever line of brokers and carriers, and very rarely is there a good relationship there, which is too bad because it shouldn't be that way. But carriers have ruined it, and so have brokers. It's just a trust that has been broke so many times that there's a lot of animosity between each side of the industry. So I guess, going forward, there's a lot of customers that'll take a carrier direct, and then they'll have a broker direct. The nice thing is working with a broker, and like for us, we'll use one of our carriers. We have customers all over.
Yeah.
We have in Utah, we have pretty much every state in the western United States.
Yeah.
So anybody that hauls for us, if they haul Logan to Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
we can reload them in Colorado. We can load them in Wyoming, in Nebraska, Kansas. We always kind of have something going. So instead of this carrier having to try and maintain a relationship with all of these different customers and just hope that they're high enough on the carrier list that
they get the call.
they'll have something.
Yeah.
Basically it's a partnership.
Yeah.
Like one thing you'll never hear me say is, and unless I'm pissed and like really trying to prove a point, it is not an I and there is not a me.
Yeah.
It is a team. It's we. I can't do it without them. They can't do it without me.
Yeah.
And it like one hand has to wash the other in this type of for a relationship like that to work.
Yeah. 100%.
So that's kind of where the broker thing comes. Kind of a long-winded answer, but
No, that makes 100% sense. And I mean, along with that, a lot of people don't understand that, the way these guys, well, they should, but we're going to explain it, is that the way these guys make money is they drive truck. They put miles under the tires. They're getting paid, by the mile. There are some companies out there that pay by the load, but when you're going over the road, most of you're being paid by the mile.
Right.
And so, like you said, if you load a truck in Logan and you send it to Colorado and he can't find a load out of Colorado and he just backhauls home to Logan or something with no load on, that's a lot of miles and a lot of time that he's not getting paid. So that's where you come in as a broker and a carrier and a partner to help these truckers find another load. Once they drop one load, they can go not far, hook onto another load and take that one and keep making money.
Yeah, so then there's like there's different programs too. So there's like the oldest one is DAT.com. It used to be called its original name was Dial a Truck. So if you were a carrier looking for a load, you'd call in and find a load. But there's these load board subscriptions. You and I've talked about it. We'll post a load.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of carriers can go to kind of find work. Trucking's fascinating. It's the only industry you can buy a truck on a Monday, buy a trailer Tuesday, set up with a factoring company, or if you got cash, Wednesday, and by Thursday, buy your subscription to Truck Stop, and Friday you're getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
It's about the only industry I've ever heard of that you can just basically make money day one and just lose your ass day two as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you can lose it just as fast.
Yeah.
But
yeah, especially when diesel prices are,
yeah,
in California they're $9 a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I mean, we're talking $5.50 going up to $6. That's a
it's
lot.
Insane.
And I've seen, I mean, even when gas prices are good, I mean, how big these trucks have two massive sized tanks on them so that they don't have to stop so much to
usually
fuel.
about 200 gallons
per tank.
And between the two, somewhere between 75 and 130 gallons on each side.
That's crazy. And
so it's it's $1,000 every.
Oh yeah.
Every time you fill up, especially right now with fuel, instantly it's $1,000.
And there's no truck out there pulling a heavy load that's getting more than, I mean, what do these trucks get? 10 miles a gallon or what?
On new trucks, they can get pretty good fuel mileage, but I'd say industry average is 5 to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 to 6.
That's not very far.
No, you figure basically for every 100 miles, you're going to burn 20 gallons.
Yeah.
And if it's $5 a gallon, basically every 100 miles costs you $100. So you start getting on these 1,000-mile hauls, and it's like $1,000 in fuel.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
um,
Yeah. So with Lond Laik Logistics, you're brokering. You have a couple trucks that you have yourself that you're hauling out there. You're really the sole owner right now doing your stuff. And talk to us a little bit about, what was the biggest struggle starting that business out? I mean, you drove truck, you had some security there, probably a little bit more security than you do now, with getting loads and just worrying about yourself. But now, there's a lot more responsibility on the table. You've partnered with Keylix, the company I work with. You haul a lot of our tubs. I mean, I'm calling you every single day to get trucks out there.
where the hell?
Yeah. Day, night, morning.
That's right.
We're giving you a call, saying I got customers out in New Mexico, Colorado, South Dakota, Kansas. I mean, you've helped us ship loads to Ohio. I mean, you really help us ship loads far and wide across the states. And so that's cool, for us to be able to help each other in that situation and help the ranchers get tubs out there in their fields and help the stores and family feed stores get tubs in their retail stores and things like that. But I mean, what was the biggest struggle, when you took the leap? I'm sure that it wasn't easy. What were some of the struggles?
So the biggest struggle in the beginning was less my own ignorance, not, just trying to learn. Yeah, I kind of had this attitude in the beginning. So back to what I said about this, like, kind of animosity between brokers and carriers. If you're a truck driver and somebody says broker, you're going, okay, cool, dude. You sit at a fancy desk and you go like this all day and click your mouse, and what a tough job you've got. Yeah. So I kind of thought the same thing. I'll never forget you and I sitting on the golf course, like, hey, dude, you gotta start a broker. I'm sick of this other dipshit. And it's like, I'd probably do that, and start doing a little research and get it all set up. And then it's like, yeah, this no big deal. I'll have this done in a week. And now it's like we're, several years into it. It's like, God damn, dude, that was tough. But the hardest part in the beginning was learning how to avoid all of the scammers. There's so many double brokers. It's a real problem within the industry. And then it's like herding cats, man. I mean, it is like, it's like I said, earlier too, within trucking, you deal with the good, the bad, the ugly. We deal with some really top-notch A1 people, and we have dealt with some real dipshits. I mean, I'm sure you'll never forget hey, my load's sitting outside of Yuma, Colorado, and the guy doesn't have a driver's license and he's going to jail. Yeah. I mean, that was a phenomenal Friday call. But that was the hardest in the beginning, just learning what everything was, to have a understanding of the industry was one thing, but to have an understanding of like how things move, why they move, where they move. Hey, you're not going to cover trucks on Easter weekend because people don't want to go. Yeah. And trying to kind of learn all of that was hard. And then realizing like how the economy within trucking works. A ton of factoring companies. Mm-hmm. For those that don't know what factoring is basically if carrier A hauls for Lond Laik Logistics, our terms are net 30. Our terms to our customers are, net 30. So they have to wait. We get paid, they get paid all, for the most part in net 30. It goes over, it's under sometimes, but in the ballpark. With a factoring company, what it does is they purchase that invoice from you, from carrier A. Mm-hmm. So then they bill us, Lond Laik, on behalf of that carrier, and they take a percentage, industry standards, 3 to 5%. Yeah. So they get paid next day. So if it's $1,000 load, factoring company takes $30. They bill us. We have 30 days to pay them. Carrier gets paid right away. The tricky part with all that is when you start, you have zero credit. Yeah. So nobody will give you the time of day. Yeah. Nobody will give you the time of day. On the block. Extreme, like credit worthiness. Mm-hmm. So those that do just blow your phone up. Yeah. Like we're several years into this. We still have people that are like, no, we aren't. You're not tenured. You're not this. You're not
100%.
You haven't been around long enough. But that was probably the hardest part was, step one was to sell ourselves to the customer.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2 was to sell, basically, we have to sell everything twice.
Yeah.
I have to sell you on why you
Right.
should give me your loads, and then I have to go sell it to a carrier. Hey, you want to haul my shit, and that was hard. And then
And on top of that, you got to sell it to the not only the customer that's having you load the loads, you got to sell it to the customer that is receiving the load too. I get customers all the time that'll give me feedback on the trucks. I mean, you wouldn't think about it, but I send a load out with a bunch of Helix tubs and they drop off, and then my customer call me as soon as it's unloaded, and they'll say, hey, this guy was a complete idiot, horrible truck driver, wouldn't help me. Or they'll say, hey, that was the best guy in the whole world, I want you to send him every time.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny because there's never a rhyme or reason. I mean, sometimes you get guys that are just assholes, and you get other times truck drivers that are just assholes, and then other times, well, it's like we had one not too long ago. The guy just couldn't shut up. He just couldn't quit talking. 10 o'clock at night. I mean, when he called me, he's just talking. But that kind of goes back again to what we talked earlier. It's just such a lonely job, but poor boundaries too. A lot of guys with poor boundaries, but yeah. Train of thought.
No, that's what happens when you're having good conversation.
That's right.
That's what this podcast is all about. We don't need to base it off too many questions or anything like that. But no, I mean, we were talking about the struggles that you have, starting a company, and there's a lot with those. I mean, anybody out there starting a company, whether it's trucking or whatever company you decide to start, I mean, you're the new guy on the block. Like you said, you hit it on the head. You got to earn business and show yourself and show who you are and how well you can work, and that you're committed and loyal to the customer.
Yeah, you do. And then the thing that's so important with it all too is you have to have your why. Why do I do this?
Yeah.
Why do I get up in the morning? Your mission, your vision, and that's all kind of fluff too. I think it's important, but your mission, your vision, that's just kind of why you're doing it and where you're going. But like your personal why. And then your core values, but really, like I don't care what business it's in, but when it comes to why you're doing it, why do I get up every morning at 5 a.m.?
Yep.
Why do I miss this or that? Or, that's always the important thing. Me personally, my why is I want to make my industry better.
Yeah.
And your why changes. In the beginning, I would have said my why is I want to be with my family more.
Yeah.
But, like now I'd say my why is I want to have, I want to work with good people.
Mm-hmm.
And in both the customer way and a carrier way, I want to, promote and edify people to their their largest potential. And then like kind of the minister thing, even from like a religious standpoint, it doesn't have to be like overly religious, but just to like actually give a shit about somebody.
Yeah.
Just to actually give a shit about who they are, why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
And, and then not take advantage. You get a lot of companies that are just there to just screw you.
Yeah.
There's, when it comes to brokerages and carriers, there's a lot of companies that, if the load pays $1,000, they'll keep $800 and pay the truck $200.
Oh yeah, I hear it from truck drivers all the time.
And it shouldn't be like that. But that's kind of my why. That's my why on what I do. I want to really promote people and see the best in everybody.
Yeah. So one thing I deal with all the time is the stress. I mean, we're kind of somewhat in a close industry here, and in the business that I do, my wife said before, hey, why don't you just shut your phone off at 7 o'clock at night and don't touch it the rest of the night, and that'll help with stress. But when a customer calls, I mean, this is very rare, but like I had an incident where I got a phone call on Christmas Eve from a customer once, and that was a super important phone call, and I had to take it, and I have customers in Helix, and in real estate, anything, things like that. But that's how I do my livelihood. And it sucks. Like, I wish I could come home and just shut it off and be done. But as you well know, with trucking, when you have a truck on the road, if that trucker breaks down, if something happens medically, if he blows a tire, or if something's insecure on the load, and that happens at 10, 11 o'clock at night, they're going to call their boss, which is you, and in my industry, it's if a customer's going to call me at 5 a.m. or if he's going to call me at 10 p.m., your customer needs to talk to you, so you need to talk to them.
Yeah.
And along with that comes a ton of pressure and an industry. And So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about how you deal with your stress in this, because I know you have it.
Oh, yeah. I'm immense amounts.
I'm the number one reason you have stress.
God, you are. God, you are. That's all right. Just kidding. I was telling that to Jackson on my way over. I was like, yeah, Cam's my stressor. But no, you know, the thing is that you see these little things on Facebook all the time. People post like motivational quotes, but the one that sticks to me all the time is pressure is a privilege. It truly is. And the thing I go back to all the time is at one point, like where you are at today, whether it's you, whether it's me, whoever it is, those listening, where you're at today, at one time you probably prayed for.
Yeah.
You probably thought, God, I hope someday I'm here. And so I always try to be very grateful about where we are at, because several years ago I would never have thought we'd be here.
Yeah.
Never in a million years. So on the days when they're really bad, and they are bad, there are days that are like, holy shit. Like, did we really do?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what the hell are we doing? I try to remind myself that, you know, pressure is a privilege, and it is important to can't spend all that time praying for food on your plate and then go, oh no, hey God, this is too much.
For it, yeah.
You know, I didn't ask for the beans over here.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. So yeah, the phone rings 24/7. Like, actually, I got this phone, I don't know, maybe a year ago. And the cool thing on an iPhone, you can go to general and you can see how many just ridiculous amounts of hours you talk on this thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that. I've never grabbed my phone and checked that out, but I know that on my call log with customers and things like that, they'll start coming in at about 6 o'clock in the morning and they don't end till later at night. By the time I'm done, I bet, this is no joke, I bet I've had 50 or 60 phone calls throughout the day. I mean, I get so many phone calls in a day that my brain like forgets. I'll get off one phone call and that guy will request me to do something. I'm like, okay, I got to go do this. I got to go make a note or go do this. And then my phone will ring again. And that could be a 20, 25-minute conversation. And I'll freaking forget. It's horrible. It's bad to admit. But, I mean, I'll forget what the heck that last phone call was about and what I needed to do. And I'll try racking my brain on it the rest of the day on how to remember and how to do it.
Oh, yeah. It's out of control. So I got this phone June 9th of 2025, and I've talked on it for 59 days and 14 hours.
Holy
Which
crap.
is just ridiculous. But, you know, the thing is it's like you said earlier, the phone, when the phone rings, you got to answer. I don't like, you know, I don't, unless I know it's a scam, or spam, I don't ignore calls. I try to pretty much answer every. We've picked up a couple customers that have been referrals, and it's a call, random number you don't recognize, and you answer. And I'm not very good at putting my phone down. I'm kind of an anxiety phone. I'm just always on it. Checking emails, checking texts. If you talk to about anybody that's around me, if that thing dies or I lose service, I stress. I mean, that is probably the time when I stress the most is, you know, like tonight, it's not that big of a deal. We don't have that much moving coming into Easter weekend, but you know, if this was Monday at 2 o'clock and that thing's at 11%, I'm running for a charger.
Yeah.
I also think when people put their trust into you, as whether you're sales, transportation, whatever you are, not that they have a right to you 24/7, because I think there always needs to be a boundary.
Yeah.
But there's nothing worse than being in a truck, have no freaking clue what to do, and the guy you need to get a hold of won't answer that damn phone.
Yeah.
You know, because you sure as hell know, dude, you're sitting at home. And so for me, I've always tried to be very readily available. And I never want somebody to go, well, thank God Jayden's at home tonight. I'm on the truck halfway across the country, but good thing he's home.
Yeah.
So try to always be readily available. Stress, I have the attitude most of the time of just it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing. I can stress all day long, but there's, you know, if I can't move a load, there's something hindering it. We're either short on funds, we're short on a truck, the timing. But, you know, it's amazing how many times I've just been stressing the hell out about a truck, and all of a sudden 3 o'clock rolls around and boom, 5 of them are covered. And
yeah, my favorite thing is I'll call you and I'm like, Hugie, you want to get a truck? Oh, I don't have one yet, but I'll get one.
Yeah.
And
They
call
come.
you a couple hours later. Oh, I don't have one yet, but I'll get one. It's coming. We'll get one. Call you a couple hours later. No, I don't have one yet, but I'm going to get one. Then
Yeah.
you'll call me back 5 minutes later. I got one.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it's just you just got to hit the market right. But yeah, that that can get stressful. But really more than anything, try to. And I'm not always good at it ever. Actually, I mean, I probably pretend I'm good about it, and I'm probably only good about it 10 or 15% of the time. But truly, just kind of like letting it is what it is. And
Yeah.
not to a lazy factor. I'm not just going to throw my hands up and go, whatever.
Yeah.
But I am going to go, okay, hey, maybe I'll step away and go do a lap around the office and just kind of just breathe. Because you can just drive yourself into about a panic.
For sure.
Trying to figure something out where sometimes you just truly have to be like, hey, shit, we just gotta be patient.
Just step back and let it work itself out.
Yeah, and breathe a little.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure in shipping loads. You got the receivers waiting on it, and you got the people jumping down your throats that are trying to send a load, and then you're taking all that pressure, and sometimes it's good for everybody, the receiver and the sender and the broker and the driver, all to sit back and okay, let's take a deep breath and reset here. And
well, like in our job, we're trying to connect, right? So your loads to your customer, but then there's so many like layers of communication in there. Communicate with you, communicate with the receiver, shipper, office admin, carrier, and then so when one of those 5 people get mad, then it's like, okay, now it's damage control. And it's usually when the truck driver gets mad, it's like, hey, you can cause the most amount of damage. So like, that's kind of like usually our focal point is like, okay, why? Like what went wrong?
Yeah.
And for the most part, people just want to be heard,
Yeah.
Hey, well, the forklift guy was an ass. Okay. You want me to do anything about it? No, I just appreciate you listening. Like,
Yeah.
for the most time, people just want to be heard.
Right.
But yeah, when you get that many different personalities and then especially you get into people, like there are just some people you won't make happy. You just get a guy flies off the handle. I mean, you just got to listen to it.
Yeah.
You just, and like for me, unless it's at a point where like I feel like I have to respectfully defend what we're doing, it's just most of the time like, hey, yeah, man, chew my ass. Like that's what I'm here for.
We're all human.
I'll be here again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I was taught at an early time in my career is, with customers, they are going to have blow-ups, whether it's the wrong product or messed up product, or you didn't get the load there in time, or they're not liking your customer service, or maybe they just had a bad day and they're going to take it out on you. Really in our industry, you don't sit there and you don't bark back.
No.
You don't sit there and you don't argue with them. You don't escalate the situation. I've watched my boss go through it. I've gone through it. I've seen, you've gone through it. But when somebody calls and starts getting upset with you, you just listen. Let them vent. And 95% of the time, when you're done listening to them and you say, okay,
they're
done? They're done. And then you can start continuing on with the cordial conversation and figure out the issue.
Well, and it's nice is once you get your ass chewed like that half a dozen times, and then you kind of learn, well, I don't want to do that to nobody else.
Yeah.
But then it's also important to know when to. I mean, you've been in your guys' office when I've called the truck and been like, you better get it together right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you got minutes and seconds, not and no longer.
Yeah.
And have that kind of a authoritative conversation to stop it. But yeah, when it comes to customers, you just got to get your ass chewed once in a while. It's good. Honestly, it's good. Like it's healthy. Like it brings all the bad out. And it's like, okay, you better now.
Let me call you tomorrow and I'll have my turn.
Yeah.
And then you better return the favor and just listen.
And like with Joe, like I screwed up a load, I don't know, a month ago. Bad. Like I screwed it up bad. And he called, chewed my ass. I just listened,
Yeah.
Like, because you also, we're all human. We screw up. But like in that instance, I screwed up,
Yeah.
I took my licking and then so I called, and then you got to kind of joke. So I called him like 1 or 2 days later. He didn't answer. So then it was like a couple days after that. So I sent him a text like, should I fill out my welfare application?
Yeah.
Like, like I've done the same to like even Cheyenne, Cheyenne gets mad about something and all right, no sweat. I'll be at the food pantry when you need me. Like, don't mind me. I'm over here. But
try and lighten the mood.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like. And the one thing I always try to remember, people don't wake up in the morning and go, "I'm going to ruin your day."
No,
you know what I mean.
No,
people don't.
No,
And kind of have goodwill. try to see the best in people, but truly like no too. Nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, hey, I'm gonna just screw this guy's day up.
Yeah.
And maybe there's evil in the world, but I don't know. I think for the most part, I don't think people try to just make a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I think in all industries, it's good for people to sometimes be aggressive because it teaches accountability.
Yeah.
Kind of an old, adage, and it's in the Bible and stuff like that too. Talks about iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of curate relationships and push on that, accountability without just being mean.
Right.
But
no, I agree 100%. All of that is speaking truth, and it's what drivers and business owners and salesmen and everybody goes through every single day. I mean, there's a lot to it, and there's a lot going on. People might look from the outside in and think, oh, that guy's just doing so good and he's got it so easy. And I mean, everybody's got their struggles, everything, everybody thinks you can start a business and get rich, and and it's
actually quite opposite. You can, I talk to people a lot. They're like, I want to be self-employed and all this freedom, and it's like, you got to talk to my wife because she you go and and I know she takes some pictures and stuff like that, but every vacation we've been on, every trip, we took the kids to Rush the other night, and I spent half the time, phone to my ear, looking at it, like it's just, it's not, you spend the first long while. But, running a business is like sales. How long do you go before it's like, hey, we don't got any, new leads, or you got to build that book. You've got to build it. And there is freedom, but there's also the freedom to work a hell of a lot more.
No, I agree 100%. And you gotta find that life balance of, how do you balance your work life and your personal life? Because, I've had this conversation a few times in my podcast, and what we do every day, your career, like you're putting food on the table for your family. But you also need to be there for your family. So it's kind of a catch-22, and you got to find that balance between, taking care of your family and being there and making sure your kids know that they still have a dad, but also making sure that you're out working and putting food on the table and supporting your family. And it's a hard balance to find.
It really is. And then not only that, but like being accountable to your family, and, it's one thing to be there, but to like be present. You know what I mean? I'm not always very present. Like that is one thing I, really need to work on. Is it's one thing to sit on the couch or say I'm home. Mm-hmm. But if I'm just home working on my computer all night, am I really home?
Yeah. Are you really present with your kids?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think, and kids need dads. Kids need moms. Moms are important. Dads are important, but yeah, kids need dads, and it is like you said, it is kind of a catch-22 because you have to provide for your family, and there's a lot of pressure. I don't give a shit who you are, even like aside from being a business owner, just being a dad in general. Not saying it's any less or more pressure than being a mom, but there is a immense amount of pressure. Is like Autumn and I have kind of gotten in an argument before, and she has her side. I'm sure just like when you and Chris argue, she does this, this, and this, and you're going, why do this, this, and this? And you both are doing your piece.
Yeah.
But, and moms hold a lot of pressure too. I think dads hold a lot more like future pressure, like kind of like how do we maintain this? Moms are pressure like, okay, I got to go get the kids here. We got to have dinner. We got to launch, kind of like all the day-to-day pressure. And the dads are like, how the hell am I going to pay for college?
Yeah.
Like pressure mine, I think about a lot. Like
I agree with that in a lot of situations too. But I know there's a lot of situations out there too where, maybe dad's not in the picture, and there's a lot of moms out there that are thinking the way they have to think. Yeah. It's a mentality. It's when you're the breadwinner of the family, it's a lot of stress to take care of your family. And like you said, put my kids through college, and in the economy that we live in, houses are expensive and interest rates are high, and back in the day when grandpa could buy a brand new truck for $25,000, now you can go buy a brand new truck for $110.
I know. I'm so I think I've told you this before. I sit on the board for the Chamber of Commerce, and been in some meetings before, and people talk about well, I did it just fine at this wage, and I did this, and this, and worked all these years, and I only made this much money. And it's like, I was in a meeting one time and asked, well, how much did you buy your house for? Well, I bought my house for $7,000. And, it's like, my house payment was $44 a month. It's like, yeah, dude, that's cool. My internet's more than $44 a month. Like,
it's so true.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's I don't know, and it's only gonna get worse.
Oh yeah.
And our kids are young. My boy's 4 years old, and he's got another 14 years before he turns 18. He's got to start doing things on his own, and I fear what it's gonna be in 18 years. Because I remember when I was a kid. I can think back to when I was, I always see on TikTok and stuff like the 2000 nostalgia stuff.
Yeah, Christmas especially.
Yeah. Well, and like when you had like the Blockbuster and things like that, and all like the cool little cereals they'd come out with, and back when they used to put the toys in the cereal box, and and then it shows like all the kids' bikes in front of the house, and instead of kids being in the house playing on their iPads and Xboxes, they're all at each other's houses, and they know it's time to come home when the light poles turn on. And
I was gonna say, I remember like my parents, it was when the lights come on, it was time to go home. And now I'm like, my kid gets past the garage door, it's like, get your ass back in here. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a different time in society though too. Like, I don't know. And maybe, I don't know, maybe our parents just didn't give a shit, but I also like, I don't know if it was just safer back then, or if everybody just was so oblivious to like
what was really out
the
there
atrocities of the world.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, like I see the same videos. You see the like Christmas in the early 2000s. It's like, yeah, dude, that was the shit. That was that was cool. I remember when I was like 10 getting a green machine, this little like trike looking thing, and it steered with the back wheels would turn. You could do like whip shitties, and like, they were so cool. And now it's like they don't do stuff like that anymore. Everything's so safe. Like I took Lakin's Jeep, or little Power Wheels Jeep, and I cut the battery, and put a DeWalt, like one of my big height, and that thing hauls ass. She can just sit in the driveway and just do donuts. But like I don't know, I like doing that stuff too. But like I'm kind of a helicopter parent where it's like, okay, do this, but don't get hurt. You know what I mean? Like don't get hurt.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, for anybody out there, what separates people who make it in this industry and don't? In the trucking industry, whether you want to be a broker, an owner operator, or a driver, what separates somebody from making it in this industry and not?
I think for one, knowing your numbers and your true numbers, not hey, what do I got to afford to buy my wife an Escalade, but like what are my operating costs, and that's in any business. Knowing your numbers, and then you are owed nothing. Yeah. Nothing in this world you are owed. I don't give a shit who you are. Nothing in this world you are owed.
Right.
Over the age of 18. When you're a kid, like you are owed everything. You're owed safety, you're owed a good education, food, running water, all that happy stuff. But, as an adult, you're not owed anything.
No.
And I think, just kind of going back to what we said is like treating people fairly, all that, but like really to like make it and truly make it, like know your numbers, and not also have it kind of like everything be a show off, like the long cool trucks. You see them, we send them in all the time. We send some cool trucks in,
I send them pictures and take videos. The driver's pulling into the lot. He's probably wondering, why the heck is this guy standing out here taking a video of me as I'm pulling in?
But you see, like really truly knowing your numbers. And if you want to have cool fancy trucks, then hey, I got to run for this number. If you're going to run a Cascadia, a Freightliner, hey, I can be at this. But truly knowing your numbers is the most important part. Offering good customer service. And I think as a guy with less than 10 trucks, if you don't have a good brokerage, you don't have a good, network of brokerages, and people will disagree with me, but you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, because it's only a matter of time before somebody like us just comes in, because we look at ourselves more as like a transportation solutions.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, we'll provide. And above and beyond what a single carrier can,
Right. Yeah.
Keelix, North Dakota needs, 5 items from Keelix, Utah. we have LTL.
Yeah,
we've got,
there's a lot of options there.
You can just be so diversified.
Yeah.
And then the other important thing with businesses is like really like knowing like your self-worth, your company worth, and then like when to say no. When to be like, hey, this cannot. You and I've had that conversation. Like, hey, dude, love you, but like
we can't.
I'm at the end of my leash on what I can make happen on this load.
Yeah.
So we need, but that is the important part.
No, I 100% agree, and I want people to realize out there, there's a lot into trucking. I mean, it's easy to be out on the interstate driving, going on your vacation or working or driving to and from work, and you see that annoying truck driver in front of you or won't get out of the fast lane or whatever. But I mean, logistics and trucking is what runs our country. It truly is. Without that, we would have nothing. And I mean, you're using semis and truckers to get crops out of the field and getting them to the flour mill or the this mill or to silage to the cows. I mean, you're using stuff. I mean, you're using this stuff to put dirt under your houses, under your commercial buildings. I mean, the list, I could sit here for another hour just talking about what logistics really is and how much it is used in the world.
Well, and it goes so far past even just trucking. You get into like what goes on rail, what goes on air, what goes on. I mean, there's always this thing on Facebook. You saw it a lot during COVID too, that would talk about if trucks stopped on a Monday, by Wednesday, the world would basically end. I don't know if that's really the truth, but
yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember like COVID, but like remember going and trying to get water or toilet paper, like it's gone.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I'd send my wife to every single store she could, and if they didn't have the 2 per package limit, I was the guy that was like, buy them all.
Well, so like I remember, like especially like toilet paper, water, but like formula. Lakin was a baby. Formula was hard to get, and I'd send trucks all over to get formula, but yeah, they kind of talk about like that, like if it stopped, how long until the industry would, like the economy would just completely crash, but you truly everything you have comes on like has to be moved.
Yep. No.
Yeah, like everything.
I agree 100%.
I think a lot of the problems we're having right now, you see like a lot of like turmoil in the transportation industry. A lot of the non-domiciled drivers, I don't want to like say all the foreigners, because that's not the case.
No.
I get a lot of guys that tell me if we get rid of all the foreigners, the industry would be better. I have more problems with non-foreigners most of the time than I do foreign carriers. But that is playing kind of a role. And what happens now is there's a lot of illegal drivers, which needed to go. But that's playing a big part, big problem in the role in the industry. Yeah.
No, 100%. And I hope everybody listening can take a lot of what has been said tonight to heart and relate to it. Jayden, on my podcast, I always like to ask, I mean, is there any advice that you'd like to tell the people? This podcast is based off of stories and people and their lives. And what would you say to people out there that are listening?
Like advice, or what do you? Yeah. Oh man, a lot, but I should have used it all early on. I don't know why this always comes up. It's like a family thing. Like my grandma's dad would often say, "Never miss an opportunity to keep your mouth shut." And I always kind of thought it was like some like smart ass thing. Like, somebody say something dumb, it's like, never keep. But like, I guess what it means now is be told something, be able to listen. Like, I think those are the 2 most important things. Whether that's family, friends, coworkers, wife, kids, and be able to apologize. Like, be able to say you're sorry.
Own up to it.
And then I guess like the last or the first, whatever you want to, it could go either way, is really treat people like with complete utmost dignity and respect. Yeah. And like also know like every choice you make has an end result. And like I said, I did a lot of stupid shit when I was 18. A lot of remorse for it. I've kind of, curated my path through life based off of those actions. But like young adults especially, like, hey man, you get, like,
Yeah, 100%.
you'll regret this someday.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great advice, and Jayden, I appreciate, you've got a busy lifestyle and you've got kids and a wife at home, so I really appreciate you coming out tonight, and I hope that people listening can relate to this one and understand, the grind and the ups and the downs and what it really takes to build a company and be a part of something like that. It's super important, and that's what this is all about, is people just relating 100%. Yeah. So you guys, I appreciate everybody jumping on and listening to this episode of Everybody Has a Story. If you haven't already, you can listen to this podcast probably like you already are on Spotify or Apple Podcast. I also post a video version on YouTube. And if you have a second, jump on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. You can find this page and this podcast called Everyone Has a Story, hosted by Cam Spackman on those pages.